Hi, this is Sally and I am going to be working on a pair of matching chairs. We have done this style before. As and when I get something that looks interesting or needs to be talked about, I will. So let's get on with it. I am working my way along here. Some of these aren't really well put in and I'll take these out. I've released the top and now I'm going to work on these here. The easiest way to do it is you start tapping at them. Now they often twist. If you can pull on both sides, they'll come out straighter. With a bit of luck, I can show you. I'm not going to get enough of these out straight to reuse on here, and they're quite expensive, so I'll keep those, and if she's got another project, I'll put them on there. So just pull on both sides equally, and there's another one that's relatively straight. So I'll just work on around this chair seat and pull it out. All I'm going to do on the outside here is pop this open. It's usually a long metal piece with teeth in it that goes down here. If you try to do it so it's evenly taken out, you can often reuse it. It just takes a little bit of effort to straighten the nails out. And then I will move along the top and get all the rest of the back off, and then the inside back. Just take your time. They used back tacking. The metal one that has barely held in, that is just going to fall out, which is good for me. Usually along the back here it's back tacking that's cardboard and it's really quite hard in. I'll just carry on doing this and then do the second one. So my friend has given me this fabric and it's going to be as stripes. The only thing is that I lose probably 3/4 of an inch that side on the selvage, and the same on this. It's a shame when the fabric goes like that, but I've got to take that into consideration. So I need 3 strips. I've got the inside, outside, back and the seat to do. Fold that in half. Nick where the centre is. I think I better go up the back. I'm going to cut the back here along the way it was woven. Is a velvet. I'm going to just carry on up here to the top, and then I'll have one half for one chair and one half for the other. I am going to measure this off to see how much I've got. If it's 27 inches, it's 3 widths at 9, but it's just over. It's nearly 28 inches. So I'm going to make each length 9¼ inches wide. I'll line this up with this end and measure off to 9¼ and do exactly the same as I did before, which is just to continue all the way up in a straight line. And then I'll cut the next 2. I have to be very careful because I don't want them to be different from each other. It won't matter too much if there's a difference, but I don't want it to be a huge difference. If it's a huge difference, then it's going to show. Now I need to cut this fabric to the same length as the one I've just cut. That's 46 inches long. So I need 1 strip of 46 inches in this fabric, which is nice and easy to cut because it's got these lovely circles. From the base of there to here is 30, and then from here to here is 16. I'm going to cut it a little bit longer than 16. So I've got my mark and I'm just going to cut all the way along here, the whole width for my fabric that I need. I'm going to be putting the 2 colours on the back here, so I'm going to measure a couple of inches around the back here and all the way around there, which makes it about 32. So take 9 away from makes it 23, and then half of 23 is 11½. I'm going to make it 2 pieces at 12½ inches, including the turnings. That should be plenty to go around. 12½ takes me here. I am going to cut between these circles all the way up because I want it to be even either side. That's that one. Then I am going to measure across 12½ inches. Well, actually the same here, so I can cut up here halfway too. That's fine. It's a little bit tight, but I've got plenty of room. So that's my first pair. I will finish cutting these 2 out, and then I will make an identical pair for the other chair because I'm going to make them in pairs so I don't mess up. I am going to straighten the top of this out. I've got plenty of fabric, so if I'm a little bit generous on straightening out, that's fine, because I want both sides to be started at the same point. And again, I can make out where the line is from the back, and I'll make the other panel that goes in on the other chair back is the same. I'm going to make sure that the fabric's going the right way. That's down. like that. Pin that to here. The first one I'm going to put across the top because that's going to be behind everything. And then I'm just going to make sure that that is level all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to put the pins going up because I don't want to damage the fabric by going across. When I've done that, I am going to pop this piece of fabric on this side, again starting at the top. First pin going acrossways like that, and then on down with the pins facing where I'm going to be sewing from. Now I always sew from the top of the fabric if it's got a pile down. This keeps the fabric in line. If I do it the other way, it kind of walks against each other. So at least this way everything's going the same way. And sew these together. Put that as evenly for now. I need to work out where these back parts go, so I'm going to have to measure it and make sure that everything goes in evenly, front and back. Before I push it all the way back, I'm going to line that side up with the inside there, and there's 1, 2, 3 circles there, and 1, 2, 3 circles there. So I think that's about even. I'm going to push that on through so it comes right out of the back here. This folds over the back there to make it smooth. So I've got 1, 2, 3 to there, up here, 1, 2, 3 to there. So all I'm going to do is pop a couple of stabilizing staples in, and a couple in the middle, like that, because I need to make sure that this is even when I cut at the back. Let's do there and there. I'll bring this in a bit tighter in a minute, but this is just to hold it while I work on the front. So I've counted to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This black line comes to the edge of the chair, and then I did the same on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There, and I'm going to pull this as hard as I can to the front and secure it. As I pull the cover in, it will change. It will pull everything else down. If it doesn't look centered, I'm going to have to pull it out. I think that'll be fine. Now I'll work it in. So I'm going to work from back to the front. Because it's got lines and squares and that, I really need to know where this is going to fall at the back. Usually I tell you to put this at a 45-degree angle and cut, but this has to go all the way down the side. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take it a little bit further back than there and cut in. If I do it that way, this should come in and still have plenty of turning. And I'm not sure, I think this line here goes down. I don't want to go in too tight because I need to have that fold on the back as well. It might be the next one back. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's this one here, not the one that I thought it was. Now I can start going in at a little bit of an angle so that I can twist that forward and work out where it needs to go. And that one back. I'm going to leave that until I've pulled the back in. Now that I've got a little bit extra, and now I'm going to do the same here. I'm not going to go in from the 45-degree angle. I'm going to go further back. Although I thought I had it in line, I didn't. On this end, I have a little bit too much of the blue, and on this end, I don't have any at all. So I think it's right on this edge that needs to go in that corner. So I will undo this and move it over just that little bit to do that. Before I get started, I'm actually going to cut down here so that I can see where it is, and that should give me enough fabric to pop behind. And I'll do the same on this side. Just kind of tidies some of the junk out of your turnings. I might need to cut that back again, but I'll have a look. Seeing this is the offending side, actually that's still too much. So I'm going to cut down here, just on that black one, because it's a little bit too wide. Now I can see where that's going to fold, like that, but I only want it to be here. I'm going to pop that in, and then I'm going to take these out and move everything across that a little bit. It's literally not even 1/4 of an inch, but I just need it to be in line. When I come to do the second chair, I'm going to make sure that everything is in line. I'm going to pull that over just slightly and then into place. This has to have a straight line on it so that this follows suit. What I've done is I measured from the bottom there up, which is about 1/4 of an inch on both sides. Actually, that side can come down slightly, and then it's 4.5 inches to there and 4.5 inches to there. So that is absolutely centered. Just a little bit of altering here, and I'll be happy. This is quite a loose fabric, so it's quite easy to pull things too far forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one back and into that corner, and I think I'll have this line here going down the side, because that's nice and easy. That will keep everything straight. still need to cut into this corner, come in from this angle I think, because that can pop down into the back. Oh boy, it's shredding, not a good sign. I'm pushing that into place as I go, and so I think it's where I need to. I'm going to start popping it behind here. I think I need to take one of those staples out at the front there, because I really want this to go in here. And I'll start at the back of the chair so it's nice and even. All of these will go sideways in the right place then. So this one has to go back as well to make that even too. And I'll pull it from the back and into position. It's not particularly obvious, but this is twisting and I need it to go straight. I'm going to release a couple of the staples at the front so that I can pull this fabric back, and I'll secure it into the back better and then move forward. I've cut into here so it should go round. I'm going to be a little bit wary because this fabric just shreds. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down here, and I'm going to secure it so that I can either pull it forward or back. This looks like it's at right angles to there. It's not tight under there, it's just enough to hold it. And I'll go back a little bit so I can pull it forward or back, but that should hold for what I want to do at the back here. And I'll do the same on the other side. Now I can work both backs in without it moving. This line here is the one I want. I'm going to cut this one off. I'll do the same on the other side. Then I'm not dealing with quite so much fabric. On this side, if I pull it in, this line here, which I want to go up and down, goes forward. So I'm going to have to release those and pull it back. Along the top of the back, I've chosen to match here and here on either side. That's as it goes underneath. And then just pull this in so it's straight. This makes it easier to match up on a second chair or a third chair. So always choose parts of the pattern that are going to easily be matched. With the inside back, I'm going to make sure that this is measured either side equally, and I'm going to cut up towards there. I don't have to be too precise at the moment, just kind of aim for it. It's 3 circles from here to the inside leg, so I'm going to do it around about there for this side. But I'm going to cut it so it's a little bit out so I can adjust it shortly, and I'll do the same on this side. And I can push the fabric all the way back. It's not going to be perfect, but if I can pull it down and tight into position on the other side, it'll make my life a lot easier. I've pulled all of this tight round and I've lined my circles up. This is really so that it's easier to pattern match. I'm cutting here like this, and then out, and I'll roll that over the top and bring that in. So all I've got to do is neaten this corner off like this, pull this over the top and in. Although I want it even here, I'm going to have to twist the fabric underneath so that it doesn't come down the outside edge here. And I'll finish that off too. Now that I've got this pattern here, I'm going to match it on the other side. When you've got a pattern like this, it's a lot easier because you can actually line markers up. Try not to pull it down, try to pull them around. I'm going to do the other side and then I'll know how much to bring in here. On this side, I'm going to cut along the top here and here. I can bring that around and just staple it to hold it. And trim back here. I don't want it to be too bulky. I had to rework all of this at least once because the turnings weren't quite right. They're still not exact, but that's fine. Nobody will really notice if it's less than 1/4 of an inch out. And I'm going to work down the sides, pulling that in so it's nice and even. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to run this line here along the edge of the chair frame, and then I'm going to try to center it as best I can with the circle coming on the arm here. It's probably not going to be perfect, as long as it looks good. Staple that into position. I've actually run out of back tacking, so I've cut some card up so it gives me the straight edge, which I'm going to pop here. Make sure that it's level with the chair edge. That should be it. Cut a piece of dacron and I'm going to staple that in position too. It's slightly over, so when I pull this back it gives a softer edge, and then I'm going to staple it into the back here so it's even. When I've done the back, I'm going to put one at the bottom here and then one at the top. Cut this so it's level with the top of the arm. It Doesn't matter if it's a little bit uneven, but it should be as level as possible. Roll that up underneath like that, and then pull it into position. I think I need to undo some of these up here and bring it down. Maybe I'm okay. And secure that. I will just roll that in for now because I need to do the underside. I also need to straighten this out just a little bit and secure it. Because it has the circles and the stripes, I've just got to make sure that all of this matches on both sides and on both chairs. As long as it's as close as possible, it'll be fine. Just pulled this in and this in. It doesn't match, but it'll be fine. No, it won't be fine at all because I've messed up. Oh gosh, maybe they won't notice. Because I've got a stripe going on here, I'd really like the stripe to continue. So all I'm going to do is thread this piece of fabric up, through and over. I'm trying to make it as even as possible. I need it to have a little bit of a fold on it to line up with the end here. Bring that down and secure it. And I'm going to do the same on this end here. Just fold it over. Make sure it's nice and tight. I could have put the piping on all the way along, but if you're making loads of piping up and trying to measure out different things, it gets a bit complicated. I'm going to just pull that in like that and cut the excess off. Now I've got the stripe going in on the back. Yeah, that's the down. Pop this over here. Line that sew line up with there. Now it might slip because it's quite bulky. And then I'm going to line that one up on this side. If it looks a bit too wide, I'll make it wide on both sides. It's the back of the chair and nobody's really going to look, I hope. Staple across to hold it. And the same on this side. And on this side. It's a little bit further over on there. That's annoying. I must have sewn it differently. I'm thinking it'll be okay. It's on the back of the chair. Back of the chairs usually go towards the wall, so nobody's going to notice. That'll be fine. No, it won't be fine. I'll move it over just a wee tad. Pop this in on the sides. I'm running this along the outside of the wood, so it's nice and straight. Almost to the bottom. I'm going to finish about an inch up from the bottom on that side, and I'll do the same on the other. Now I've run out of back tacking, so just cut up some cardboard, push that hard up against the piping at the top, just like I do every other time. Make sure you go into the corner. I almost missed that. So right into the corner there, hard up against the piping and secure. Because I would know this won't go all the way across, I've got two different lengths so that they'll cross over and there won't be weakness. Tuck this over the front like that and just carry on going across. The next thing I'm going to pop in is some batting. Run it along the top, just a little bit over, but not too much because otherwise it goes bulky. And then I'm just going to cut down on the outside edge of the piping because I'm going to have to pop this along here in a minute. Let's have a look, see where we are. Oh yeah, that looks good. That's going to come in nicely. It's a little bit over on both sides, I think. But that's okay, and it's partly the way I sewed it. There's always going to be differences when you sew things. I'm going to start this about 1/2 inch down from the top, and I'll staple it in here to start off with. I'm going to make my way all the way down to the bottom, which I am finishing about 1 inch up from the bottom, not completely all the way down. And now I'm going to infill. I put them in every hole of this to make sure it's secure. With this, I'm going to take a strip off. So I'm going to line this up with the base here and pull it quite tight down. Line it on top of the blue stripe here, or whatever stripe you've got, like that, and secure it. Fold the fabric underneath and secure it at least 2 more times. Not quite into the corner because you're going to have to mess with that, but far enough that it's in and secure. Because I'm going to have to cut this and sort this out in a minute. Let me trim back some of this, just a little bit. I'm not going to take it too far because I'm going to use that. Actually, I'll push these a little bit too far over, only a little bit. I've got my needle, put that right down to the hip there. I'm starting at the bottom because I want to make sure that this goes in more or less straight. And I'm going to just push that in behind those teeth as evenly as I can, all the way up. Because I'm going to have to make sure that it's as even as possible on the other side in a minute. work my way all the way to the top. And when I'm satisfied, any loose ends, just make sure it's all behind there. And start tapping it closed until I get to the top of this. Now I decided that I didn't want to put piping all the way across the bottom. So I've cut the piping to almost at the end here. Fold that under and up. Make sure it's tucked right behind. I'm going to secure that like that. Now I've already put this over slightly. That comes down there, that'll be fine. And now the base. Again, I'm going to just fold all of that back and line that up with the blue stripe at the bottom. And when I'm happy with that, make sure it's all tucked in all the way along. I'm going to secure that into place like this, just like I did on the other side. And now I'll put all of this in all the way down. Fold that over and pull it in tight. I want it as tight as possible and secure. Pull this in from down here first and then make my way to the top. It's just the easiest way. If I do it the other way down, it just means that it might walk the wrong way. I'm going to cut into the corner here so it goes around the chair like that. Maybe a little bit closer. Put a little V on it so that it goes round. Fold that up, fold this round like that, and then push it against the chair. Secure the bit under here first. Actually, this one's gone in quite nicely. I am going to pop that here. Didn't want to bring this down and mess, so what I'm going to do is put a decorative tack here like this. On the front leg, I ended up having to put 3 decorative tacks on, so I'm going to do exactly the same on the back, just so it looks nice and even. Not that anybody's really going to notice. I'm going to do side by side, and I'm going to do another one here. That's why I stopped the metal tack here, so that it wouldn't interfere with whatever I did on this corner. There we go. And that's the back in. I couldn't make this match, this join here, but I did it in such a way that it matches on each chair, both sides. Here I just came down, folded it underneath the chair, but I also then folded this underneath and around some wadding, and then pulled this in, and the same here, under the chair but under wadding here, and put these here to hold everything in place. I chose not to put piping on because piping attracts attention. So if I've done anything wrong on this edge, the piping would attract people's attention to it. This will just sort of meld. You'll see the chair, but you won't see the structure, and therefore anything that I've done that's wrong will just disappear into the background. So I'm really pleased with this, really pleased. Thank you for joining me today on this project. I hope you've gained some information, useful information, on how to do matching pair of chairs. I actually think they turned out really nice, and I hope my friend is going to be suitably impressed. If you want to see more from me, please subscribe and hit the bell button, and a few thumbs up would be absolutely brilliant. And in the meantime, take care. See you later. Ciao.